just powerful. Hearing the text about the prodigal son. And for those of you who might not be familiar with the story about the prodigal son, I'll just sum it up. It was a story about a father, and he had two sons. There was an older son and there was a younger son. And then the way things typically went in that time was once the father died off, then he would pass down the estate. The older son would typically get 2/3, the younger son 1/3. The younger son said, "Dad, I don't want to wait. Just let me have what's coming to me. You don't have to die, but you can just give me my estate now. I'm going to leave, and I'm just going to do what I please with." The father said, "Okay, son. Here, have your estate. Go ahead, take it. Do what you please." So the son then goes out, and the son's just living lavishly, spending his money like crazy. And then he got to the point where the money ran out, because that's what happens with money in life. Eventually, the money will run out. So the text picks up Luke chapter 15. I'm just going to read a few verses for us. This is verse 20 for those who might want to follow. "And he arose and came to his father when he was yet a great way off. His father saw him and had compassion, and ran and fell on his neck and kissed him." I want to pause there just for a second, because when I envision just how this went, I see the father running, and as he's preparing to embrace his son, then the father's arms are stretched out. The father is stretching and fully extending himself so that he can embrace his son with all the love, with all the grace, and just ultimately so that he can allow his son to understand that I'm not mad at you. Right. So he can remind his son, don't be shameful. Yeah. So he can remind his son to not feel guilty. Looking at the father with his arms stretched like this, I can't help but to think of Christ. Yeah. When he was on the cross, they hung him high, they stretched him wide. This is the picture of what grace looks like. Then the text goes on and it says, "And his son said unto him, Father, I've sinned against heaven and in thy sight, and I am no more worthy to be called thy son." How many times have us in this room ever felt like there's been something that we've done to where God has turned his back on us? We felt that, God, you can't still love me. There's no way that your grace can abound like this. God, you can't, no, you can't love. And then we allow that shame, we allow that guilt, we allow that to take hold in our heart, and ultimately we allow it to separate us from God, or so we think. But then the text says, verse 22, "But the father said to his servants, bring forth the best robe and put it on him." Picture him putting on a white robe. He was dirty. He was muddy. He was rolling around with the pigs and eating slop. Yeah, he was. But he said, no. My son is back home. Let me wrap him with this robe of grace. Let me wrap him with this robe of love. Put a ring on him, on his hand. Put shoes on his feet, and bring hither the fattened calf and kill it, and let us eat and let us be merry. For once this son was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found, and they began to be merry. I really just wanted to share that today, because hearing this message and just seeing the picture of what grace really looks like, and just seeing no matter how far out we are, God is looking for us. The father was looking for the son, waiting for him to come home, waiting for him to return. So then once he came, he celebrated him. So let us remember that there's nothing that we can do to remove us from God's love. He's ready to embrace us. He's ready to kiss us and put the robe of grace on us. Put a robe of love on us, so we can know how much he really loves us.